Hey, it's News from Heaven. What's up, everybody? A lot going on here today. There's a lot going on. We're talking about how there is a specific aura that connects humans, spirits, and angels. The situation is this. Whatever you love and intend and act on makes up your life. That is what composes the very core of your life. And your life is a real thing. It's an object, but it's a spiritual object. So just like if you took a stick of cinnamon and held it up like here and just breathed in, you can smell it. You can feel that thing is interacting with your senses even though it's over there. It emanates out kind of an aura around it. Your life emanates an aura around it. But it's a spiritual aura because your life is spiritual. And this aura can be detected and sensed really easily by anyone who is spiritual. I mean, any of us who have lost our bodies and become angels or spirits, we can smell even each other's auras. And the kinds of things that you are into and do that make up your life, that determines the nature of your aura. So there's these two levels to life motivations. One is surface and the other is deeper. And if we make our life all about surface motivations, our aura smells terrible. And if we make our life about deeper motivations, it smells good and actually creates heaven around it. This is from Secrets of Heaven 4464, subsection 2. Without our awareness, we are surrounded by a kind of spiritual aura that reflects our emotional life. Angels pick up on this aura better than the keenest nose on earth detects a scent. Some people have lived only on the surface of life. What is it going to say? What is surface? I would think that would mean shallow. Like you don't think clever, deep thoughts about spiritual things or academic things, right? Or you just, what is shallow? That is, they have indulged in the satisfaction of hating their neighbor. The revenge and cruelty this leads to, adultery, a sense of superiority and contempt for others, fraud, greed, deceit, decadence, and so on. That's what surface means? Because you would think there are people for sure, and each of us at times in our life, when things on that list feel like, no, this is the vital energy of life. I'm revved up, I'm mad at this person, I'm going to go and beat them and win, I'm going to do this thing that's harmful. What do you mean that's surface? According to Swedenborg, that because it's self-centered, because all of those things don't really understand and acknowledge the fact that other human beings are real, you basically don't get what's going on in life. And so you stay on the surface when those things become what you're about. And like if you're eating something, like if you ate garlic, you smell like garlic. What do we smell like if we eat spiritually that stuff? The spiritual aura that envelops people like this is as offensive as the earthly stench given off by corpses, dung, ripe garbage. Gross. So gross. And so on. And people who had lived this way take the aura with them when they die. Since they are saturated through and through with it, they cannot live anywhere but hell where such auras exist. I want to say that what leads to the stinky aura, because as soon as I see anything like this, I think, well, wait a second, am I doing that? How do I smell spiritually? The thing that makes it so that something becomes, so that your aura is superficial like that, is people who indulge in the satisfaction of these things. You can do some of these things, but be doing it because you lost control for a minute, or because you were under a lot of pressure, and afterwards you have remorse. Or maybe you had an earlier period in your life where you didn't care about that stuff, but now you regret it and look back. That's not what this is about. This is about dwelling in, knowing that this stuff I'm doing is harmful and doing it anyway, or worse, I do it because it's harmful, because of the thrill that it gives me. That's what messes your aura up. And it's not that God takes you and says, you're going into hell, but this aura is hell. That stench of loving those things is hell. But you don't have to do that. There's an alternative. Others are on a deeper level, though. They are the ones who have enjoyed practicing goodwill and charity toward their neighbor, and especially those who have found bliss in loving the Lord. I do need to stop and say, Swedenborg makes this fundamental statement in the book Heaven and Hell, where he says, loving the Lord is not loving God for the image he projects, but loving the goodness that comes from God. So it's not as much how much in your life did you sit there and think about God as a being and feel affectionate, loving goodness. So in every interaction with people, doing what's honest and just and fair and seeing the good in them and going for it, that is the fundamental way that we love God. So it doesn't mean you have to be hyper-religious, but it does mean you have to be really into what is good, what is kind. What does this do to your aura? They are surrounded by a pleasant, agreeable aura that is the atmosphere of heaven itself. And accordingly, they are in heaven. Heaven is composed. The reason why heaven is it's full of people like this who are each giving off their atmosphere. It's like there was a planet with no atmosphere, and human beings landed on there and had these machines that slowly pumped gases into the atmosphere and terraformed the planet. Heaven's atmosphere came from the people who are there. And the heaven and hell are divided because they have the absolute opposite atmosphere. If you're sitting around and making the point of your life, revenge and cruelty and adultery and everything that's negative, that stinks, and it creates conditions in which only people who can stomach that stuff want to go. And in heaven, it's like love is, your love is emanating out around you. Everything and sparkles with the truth and the love in your neighbors and in you. And if you're not into mutual love, you don't want to be there. Auras perceived in the other life always rise out of the different types of love and the resulting emotions we had nurtured. So auras rise out of our life. Love and its attendant emotion being the substance of life itself. Who are you? You are what you love. Since they rise out of varieties of love and emotion, they rise out of the aims and goals inspiring us to will and act as we do. Don't go back up to that list I had before, but where all this like negative stuff. Oh, have I ever done hating, revenge, cruelty, adultery, sense of superiority? It's not about checking off boxes of those actions. It is why. Why are you doing what you do? What is the motivation? And the aims and goals inspiring us. That's really what forms our aura. We always aim at what we love, so our goals circumscribe our life and determine its quality. This is the main source of our aura. It is perceived in exquisite detail in heaven, because the whole of heaven abides in an atmosphere of purpose. Not just love, like, I just love you, and we just walk around all day high-fiving. We're doing good things. We want to make the universe, make reality better. We want to help the human race. That's what heaven is. These remarks show what a person engaged at a deep level is like and what a person engaged on a shallow level is like. They also demonstrate the reason why we ought to go deep and not stay on a shallow level. If it wasn't enough for you that revenge, adultery, cruelty, superiority hurt people and destroy society, they stink. They smell terrible spiritually. If that wasn't enough motivation to clean you up. And if you didn't already love goodness and kindness and gentleness and fairness for the acts themselves, just know they smell great spiritually. So the situation, as I said, is this. what we intend and what we love and what we do from that intent makes our life, composes our life. And our life is right now vibrantly sending itself out around us spiritually. And the more that we bring good things in, and we love what is good and true, and we work for that and we fight for it, the more that we are like spiritual Febreze packets cleaning up the atmosphere of the spiritual world.